The story of the Dunwich Horror begins in a rural and isolated setting. The town of Dunwich, a fictional town located in Massachusetts. Dunwich is a remote place, surrounded by gloomy hills, wastelands, and covered with an ancient and mysterious air. The roads to the town are neglected, the hills are dark, and there are always strange rumors about unexplained phenomena in the region. It is a place that seems frozen in time, and its inhabitants are as peculiar as the landscape that surrounds them. The few residents who live there are reluctant to interact with the outside world. They are people who have inherited not only their lands, but also a number of superstitions and rituals that date back to bygone eras. These rituals, often pagan, are believed to have been passed down through the generations, making them one of the most intriguing traits of the Dunwich population. This isolation and the nature of its inhabitants have made the village the subject of stories and legends among the people of the surrounding area. The Dunwich Hills are steeped in mystery. Older residents speak of lights seen in the sky at night, noises heard from deep within the earth, and invisible beings gliding through the trees. In fact, some of the village's key sites, such as the stone circles located on the highest hills, have been regarded for centuries as points of great power, where it is believed that Druid or pre-Christian rituals were once carried out. The atmosphere is oppressive and heavy with dark foreboding. The sense that something sinister is looming over the place is palpable from the outset. Dunwich is not just a physical setting, but also a reflection of the moral and spiritual decay of its inhabitants. Lovecraft uses the description of this town to set the tone of the story, one of growing unease and fear of the unknown. Amidst this decaying community stands the Whateley family, one of the strangest and most isolated in the land. The story focuses on three key members of this family: Lavinia Whateley, Old Man Whateley, and the infamous Wilbur Whateley, who is destined to unleash terror beyond what any Dunwich resident could imagine. Lavinia is Wilbur's mother, an albino woman, half-blind and considered somewhat insane by the townspeople. She lives on her family's farm, a rundown dwelling in a desolate part of the hills. Lavinia is a tragic and strange figure. Very little is known of her life before Wilbur was born, but her social isolation, combined with her loyalty to her father, Old Man Whateley, has made her a shadowy and mysterious person. Although her role in the story seems to be secondary, the fact that Lavinia has given birth to Wilbur after a relationship with an unknown entity, later discovered to be Yog-Sothoth, places her at the center of the horror that unfolds. She is not fully aware of the extent of her father and son's plans, but she passively participates in the dark rituals taking place on the farm. In her silence and marginalization lies a terrifying truth. Her lineage is destined to be the conduit for a cosmic catastrophe. Old Man Whateley, Wilbur's grandfather, is the one who really pulls the strings in the young man's early life. He is described as a decrepit old man, but with a keen intellect and a deep knowledge of the dark arts. His obsession with ancient rituals and the Necronomicon has made him a feared figure in the town. People speak of him as if he were a warlock, someone who has practiced forbidden arts and made pacts with unknown entities. Old Man Whateley has been responsible for Wilbur's education, teaching him from an early age about the arcane knowledge he has accumulated. In his time, he built up a library of forbidden texts and ancient grimoires, among which the Necronomicon holds a central place. This book is key to his plans. Through it, he seeks to summon Yog-Sothoth, a cosmic entity that can traverse the barriers of space and time. One of Old Man Whateley's most notorious traits is his constant acquisition of livestock. Over the years, he buys large numbers of animals, but they are never seen by the town. It is suspected that he uses them to feed something he keeps hidden in the barn on his farm. Strange sounds and mysterious phenomena heard at night on the farm fuel gossip in Dunwich about the Whateleys and their dark practices. The central character of the story is Wilbur, Lavinia's son. From his birth, it is clear that Wilbur is not a normal child. He grows abnormally fast, both physically and mentally. Within a few months, he already looks like a 4-year-old, and by the time he is 10, he already looks like an adult. His intellect is sharp, but his physical appearance is disturbing. He is extremely tall, thin, and has features that do not seem entirely human. His skin has a strange texture, his eyes are deeply dark, and his voice is too mature for his age. Wilbur is aware of his destiny from an early age. His grandfather has groomed him to carry out a larger plan, to open the gates to Yog-Sothoth and allow this cosmic being into our world. Wilbur also has a deep knowledge of the Necronomicon and, like his grandfather, seeks to obtain a complete copy of the book in order to perform the final ritual that will bring about cosmic catastrophe. Wilbur's relationship with the town of Dunwich is strained. He is seen as a strange and dangerous being, and although the townspeople avoid contact with him, there is a growing sense that something horrible is going on at Whateley Farm. Wilbur, for his part, is arrogant and dismissive of others. He feels that his purpose is above the understanding of ordinary people. The Necronomicon plays a central role in the plot of the Dunwich Horror. Created by the Arab poet Abdul al-Hazard, this grimoire contains the darkest secrets about the Old Ones, cosmic beings who existed long before humanity. Yog-Sothoth is one of these Old Ones, and his power lies in his ability to exist simultaneously in all dimensions of space and time. The Whateleys believe they can call upon Yog-Sothoth and use his power to rule the world, though in reality they are playing with forces they do not fully understand. Lovecraft uses the Necronomicon to introduce the idea that there is forbidden knowledge that humans should not possess. The book contains not only rituals for invoking the Old Ones, but also warnings about the dangers of such invocations. Throughout the story, the Necronomicon is mentioned as the key to unlocking the cosmic horror lurking in the Dunwich Hills. Following the death of Old Man Whateley, the rituals at the farm become even more intense and mysterious. Wilbur follows his grandfather's teachings and continues to try to complete the dark ritual to summon Yog-Sothoth. The atmosphere in the town becomes heavier and more oppressive. Although the inhabitants of Dunwich have always been accustomed to the strange, recent events surpass anything they have seen before. One of the first signs that something is amiss is the unexplained disappearance of livestock. The Whateleys have purchased vast numbers of animals, and although they are never seen in the fields, their numbers seem to steadily dwindle. The villagers begin to hear increasingly loud noises coming from the Whateley farm, as if something large and hungry is growing inside. Throughout the nights, humming, growling, and heavy footsteps can be heard echoing across the hills. No one dares approach the farm to investigate. Things get worse when strange tremors begin to shake Dunwich. The tremors have no natural explanation and seem to originate from somewhere deep beneath the Whateley farm. The earth itself seems to rebel against whatever is happening on the farm. The hills near the farm seem gloomier, and sometimes people report seeing strange lights shining over the mountains at night. Meanwhile, back at the farm, Wilbur continues to work in secret. However, he knows that he cannot complete the ritual without a complete copy of the Necronomicon. The version he possesses is incomplete, and the key to fully summoning Yog-Sothoth lies within the missing pages. Determined to obtain the complete grimoire, Wilbur sets his sights on Miskatonic University, where he knows a complete copy of the Necronomicon is located in its library. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Your support means a lot and motivates me to keep creating more interesting content. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, join our community so you don't miss out on anything. Thanks for your support. In a desperate attempt to complete the ritual, Wilbur travels to Arkham, the city where Miskatonic University is located. He knows that the only place he can find a complete copy of the Necronomicon is in the library of this university. However, Wilbur is aware that his appearance and reputation precede him, so he tries to be as discreet as possible. When he arrives at the university, he requests access to the Necronomicon, but is met by Dr. Henry Armitage, the head librarian and a scholar specializing in arcane texts. Armitage, who has heard of the rumors about the Whateleys and knows the implications of the Necronomicon, refuses to let Wilbur access the book. Wilbur's already abnormal and disturbing appearance only increases Dr. Armitage's suspicions, and he decides to investigate the situation further. Wilbur, frustrated, tries to reason with Dr. Armitage, but his strange behavior and obvious desperation in his actions raise even more alarms. Armitage, being one of the few people in the world with a deep understanding of the dangers associated with the Necronomicon, understands that he cannot let Wilbur have the book. Desesperado, Wilbur decide robar el Necronomicon en una noche de julio de 1928. Logra entrar en la biblioteca de Miskatonic, pero es sorprendido por un perro guardián que lo ataca. La muerte de Wilbur a manos del perro revela un detalle espantoso. Su apariencia externa era solo una parte de lo que realmente era. When the professors at Miskatonic University examine Wilbur's corpse, they discover to their horror that he was not entirely human. His body has strange features that are clearly inhuman. His skin, for example, has a reptilian texture in some parts, while other areas of his body appear to be made of a substance that cannot be identified. Wilbur's features are even more disturbing. In addition to his abnormal height and disproportionate build, the professors notice that he has an unusual number of eyes on his body, some of them located in places where they should not be. This discovery confirms Dr. Armitage's suspicions. Wilbur was indeed a hybrid, the fruit of Lavinia Whateley's union with Yog-Sothoth, the cosmic entity the Whateleys worshipped and sought to summon. Wilbur, therefore, was only one piece of the family's larger plan to open the door between dimensions and allow Yog-Sothoth to enter Earth. Following Wilbur's death, paranormal events in Dunwich escalate alarmingly. Soon, villagers begin reporting livestock disappearances at a much faster rate, and tremors become more violent. Inhuman noises are heard coming from the Whateley farm and its surroundings, and a sense that something terrible is about to break loose grips the town. This is when the invisible creature first manifests itself. This colossal being, whose presence is primarily perceived through its gigantic footprints and the destruction it leaves behind, begins to move around the outskirts of Dunwich. Trees are uprooted, buildings are crushed like toys, and anything that crosses its path is mercilessly destroyed. Although the creature is invisible to the naked eye, the villagers can hear its terrifying roars and see the devastating footprints it leaves behind. The creature moves with uncontrollable ferocity and is soon revealed to be directly related to the Whateleys. In fact, it is Wilbur's twin brother, also born to Lavinia and Yog-Sothoth. But unlike Wilbur, this creature is completely inhuman. It has been kept in the farm barn for years, feeding on the livestock that old man Whateley acquired. With Wilbur's death, the creature no longer has anyone to control it and has escaped its confinement. The invisible creature is described as something that defies logic and nature. Its size is gigantic, and although it is invisible, some villagers, using certain magic powders, manage to see it partially at times. What they see is an indescribable abomination, with disproportionate limbs, eyes distributed chaotically throughout its body, and tentacles that twist endlessly. The sight of this creature, even incomplete, is enough to drive those who observe it mad. With Dunwich on the brink of collapse, Dr. Armitage realizes that the only way to stop the creature is by using the arcane knowledge he has acquired through studying the Necronomicon. He decides to travel to Dunwich accompanied by two colleagues, Professor Warren Rice and Dr. Francis Morgan, both also experts in arcane sciences. Armitage and his companions are armed with spells and rituals they have learned from the Necronomicon and other dark texts. They know that the creature is a manifestation of Yog-Sothoth's power, and that its ultimate goal is to fully open the door between dimensions so that the ancients can enter our world. Aware of the gravity of the situation, they prepare to confront this cosmic horror. When they arrive at Dunwich, they head straight for the hill where the creature seems to have taken up residence. Using a combination of spells and special powders, they manage to make the creature partially visible and confront it. The confrontation is long and difficult, and although Armitage and his companions manage to perform the ritual necessary to return the creature to its home dimension, what they see during the process is terrifying. The creature, in its final moments, becomes fully visible and reveals its true form, a multi-headed, tentacled, limbed monstrosity that seems to come from a nightmare. Its final scream, before being destroyed, is a mix of an inhuman roar and intelligible words that refer to Yog-Sothoth and the Whateley bloodline. Following the disappearance of the invisible creature, the town of Dunwich is left in a state of shock. The few witnesses who witnessed the final battle between Dr. Armitage and the cosmic abomination are deeply traumatized by what they saw. Although the creature was destroyed, its presence left indelible scars on the town, both on its physical landscape and in the minds of its inhabitants. Dr. Armitage and his colleagues, Warren Rice and Francis Morgan, managed to contain the threat, but what they have learned and experienced during their confrontation with the forces of Yog-Sothoth leaves them with a sense of constant dread. Although they have managed to halt the immediate advance of the ancients, they are acutely aware that cosmic horrors still lurk, waiting for another opportunity to invade our reality. The final revelation of the creature's true nature, as a direct descendant of Yog-Sothoth and brother of Wilbur Whateley, confirms that the Whateley family's plan was far more dangerous than they initially thought. The creature was merely a physical manifestation of the chaos the ancients could unleash if they managed to cross the threshold between dimensions. Armitage knows that the forces they attempted to summon are far more powerful than the human mind can comprehend. The town of Dunwich, already a place marked by its isolation and dark legends, is further devastated by recent events. Wilbur's disappearance and the destruction of the invisible creature leave the villagers stunned, though most of them do not fully understand what has happened. Many simply prefer not to speak of the events, as if ignoring them might protect them from further horrors. However, the strange tremors in the earth and the lights in the sky have ceased, bringing a measure of calm back to the village. The devastated fields and hills destroyed by the creature stand silent witness to the terrible truth that only a few understand. Dunwich, which has always been a place steeped in mystery and superstition, sinks even deeper into its own isolation after these events. Rumors and stories of what happened at the Whateley estate are passed down among the villagers, but over time, rational explanations and doubts begin to soften the true extent of the horrors that were unleashed. The Whateley family, once a feared presence in the community, has disappeared. The farm, once the center of so many mysteries, is left abandoned, its buildings trashed, and the barn, where the creature was kept, becomes a place avoided by all. No one in town wishes to venture near the remains of the farm, and the few people who do claim to have sensed an ominous presence, as if something still lurks from the other side of the veil of reality. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Your support means a lot and motivates me to keep creating more interesting content. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, join our community so you don't miss out on anything. Thanks for your support.